Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So it finally happened, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan, and literally the internet is currently ablaze because of it. At the time I'm recording this, the video has been up for 23 hours, and it's done, get this, not even 24 hours, not even a day, 21 million views. I think it is the number one video on YouTube at the moment. Correct me, guys, if I'm wrong about that, but the last time I checked, it was climbing in the charts. But YouTube and all the other platforms will do whatever they can to try and censor or try and get rid of the video because my goodness me, was it fire. It was 3 hours long. 3 hours, man, but it didn't even feel like 3 hours. It felt more like an hour because the two men, Joe Rogan and Donald Trump, were literally on point the entire time. I have not seen Joe Rogan be that on point and that clear and that not only concise, but the paying so much attention to everything that Donald Trump was saying. I have not seen Joe Rogan be that way towards any guests. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but 2,000 something interviews. This one was one of my favorites. And Trump, my goodness, I'll say one thing about Trump. The man may be old, but he is sharp as a tack. He did not go to the toilet before, during, or after. He didn't drink a thing. He just sat down, according to Joe Rogan, and went. He just started talking. Now, one thing that Donald Trump is very good at, which Joe Rogan did an excellent job in trying to bring Donald Trump back, is the weave. Donald Trump is very good at answering part of a question to start off with, and then he'll weave in all these other things and then dump pretty much the actual answer to the initial question at the very end. I was listening to all the questions that Joe Rogan was asking, and sure, he could have asked many, many more. And there are a lot of questions that Joe did ask Trump that were great questions to actually ask. And to be honest with you all, I think this really just destroyed Kamala Harris's campaign. If you think about it, compared to Kamala Harris, who had a rally of her own while this was taking place, or this was dropping on the internet, and you see the stark difference. So the exact same time, I think it was 12 or 10 hours in, Joe Rogan's podcast had over 10 million downloads, and Kamala Harris's so-called rally with Beyonce only had, I think it was on CNN, the mainstream media, 544,000 views, which is still a decent number, but you compare that to 10 million, goodness me, that's nothing. That is I don't even know if I can do the math right now, but it is a minuscule amount compared to what Joe Rogan just did. And Trump, his people were kind of freaking out because he was late for a Michigan thing or something along those lines, according to Joe Rogan. And Trump didn't care because he knows that it's going to be bigger than going to some rally elsewhere. I know Trump wants to, stay with his commitments, but he just gave everybody what we were after, what we have been asking for a long time. He did it. He did it for the people. He did it for himself. He did it for Joe Rogan. And I think Joe had a great time. I think from listening to the entire thing, like I said, it didn't even feel like a 3 hour long podcast. It felt like an hour long. And to be honest, they even thought when they were talking, having a conversation, it felt only an hour, but it ended up being 3 hours, man. So a couple of points. If you guys haven't seen the interview yet, definitely do yourself a favor and go and do it. Now, Trump did mention the fact that Kamala wouldn't actually want to do Joe Rogan or couldn't do it. She'd be in a coma on the floor doing a 3 hour long podcast with Joe Rogan and making sense. I don't think that would be possible based on what I have seen. Joe Rogan, on the other hand, seemed to think that he wants to have a conversation, just a conversation, get to know Kamala Harris as a person, because he believes that the way they're doing things at the moment with the media, it's a very jarring thing. But Joe seems to think that he'll treat Kamala like a regular human and just talk to her which, if anyone can do it, I think Joe can. Now, before we dive into a few key takeaways during the Trump and Joe Rogan interview, have a look at this. This is at Kamala Harris's rally. Now, Beyonce went on stage, and afterwards, the audience started booing Kamala Harris. You know why? Because they thought that Beyonce was going to perform. Guess what? She didn't. So have a watch. You can hear the boos, man. You can hear the boos. And they get louder towards the end. People are not happy, man. You're going to Kamala Harris's rally and you say the name Beyonce, everyone gets excited. So that's what I mean. They're not there for Kamala Harris. They're there for someone else who they think is going to perform. It's like a concert. Donald Trump doesn't need that. People may, leave early at a Trump rally, but they stay for quite a while, right? Like Trump talks. People go to a Trump rally because he is infectious. He doesn't need these musicians or celebrities. No, everyone knows that Trump's it. They love Trump. So some of the big takeaways from the Joe Rogan podcast with Trump was Trump revealed his biggest mistake during his first term. Many of you may actually think that he didn't make many mistakes. Many of you may think he made a lot of mistakes. Who knows? I don't know where you guys sit on that aisle, but he may have made mistakes in the past, granted, but I think one of the biggest ones was not firing certain people that he actually had in his administration. The next is Trump asked Rogan to explain why he's gotten bad publicity, and Joe Rogan quite simply said, you say a lot of wild shit, which made me laugh. Now, honestly, if Trump doesn't become president, he has a career as a comedian. The man is hilarious. Like, you listen to him talk and the way he weaves things in. He was calling other generals and what else idiots, and it was just a fantastic time. And I think he is hilarious. The way he was slamming Kamala Harris as well, calling other people names. It was great. So another one is Rogan tells Trump the rebels are Republicans now, the ones that are different. The rebels are the Republicans now, though. Like, you want to be invisible. You want to be punk rock. You want to be like, buck the system. You are that now if you are a Republican. And Elon Musk has agreed. Trump says he told North Korea's Kim Jong-un to just relax and go to the beach. Now that, to me, was probably my favorite part. You're telling the North Korean dictator, hey, Kim Jong-un, just relax, man. Just go to the beach. Don't worry about the nuclear weapons. Go to the beach. Chill on the beach. And he said North Korea has some good beaches, and he said that we need to start developing some hotels and stuff like that. Typical Trump fashion, right? Along the shoreline where the beaches are. And I just couldn't stop laughing. I was like, this is actually pretty funny. You're telling a dictator what to do. And it's Kim Jong-un, for goodness sake, who the people, well, he wants to think that the people think that he's a god, but he ain't no such thing. And Trump discusses Make America Healthy Again initiative, says he told RFK Jr. just focus on health, the MAHA analogy that I think a lot of people are quite interested in, because we need to make not just America healthy again, but we need to make the entire world healthy again, because, big pharma and big food, big industrial, everything is making people sick, because if you make people sick, they're easier to control. You are creating a system whereby people are reliant on a cure or a fix, and you're just starting people back from square one by giving them absolute rubbish that is not going to be good for their health at all. So there's a lot more other key takeaways during the Trump and Rogan interview. They discussed whether or not aliens exist. Trump said that he's more than likely going to be releasing the JFK files, which would be extremely interesting if that actually happens. And well, yeah, they also discussed how the mainstream media now hates him so much when they used to actually love him. Like you look at previous interviews of him on The View, Whoopi loved him for some reason. I mean, what's not to love, right? Like he's a funny dude. He's a funny dude. And I'm looking more and more forward to November now because it seems to me like a lot of people actually agree with Trump now. Like the tide is shifting, the mood's shifting, and I think even Joe Rogan realized that too. Like I don't think, and Trump even said in an interview that he doesn't think that Joe is going to be voting for Kamala, lying Kamala. Like I would have loved to actually have heard Joe and Trump talk more about Kamala's policies because one thing that they were discussing that Trump did a okay job in talking about, not too much, but and Joe had to bring him back was tariffs. Like he said that it's a beautiful, beautiful word, tariffs, the miraculous word, tariffs. Now I don't not disagree with tariffs. I think other countries, if you charge them for imports and exports and all that sort of other stuff, I think that it's a brilliant idea, right? I think it actually works so that the people in your own country don't have to pay for them. Like if you want to have a free market and flowing trade, why not put tariffs on it? Like it just okay, you're making a lot of money and you're not having to pay to import certain things. Like, to me, I think tariffs are a reasonable idea, but I can understand the argument against them. And that's what Joe Rogan was trying to point out during the interview, and income tax stuff, which again is another interesting part of the interview. You guys should check out what Trump says to that. But all in all, I thought it was a brilliant interview. They were both very much on point. I don't imagine that Kamala would be that much on point at all because I don't think she has an IQ above 50. I don't. It's evident. She's dumb. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. You guys take care. You be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.